In this episode, one of the most beloved and significant episodes, Space Seed.
Compliance, the final frontier. Tom Fox is the voyager of trekking through compliance. His mission? To explore the original series and seek out and share what it can teach you about compliance. Here's your host, Tom Fox.
Trekking Through Compliance, Episode 22, Space Seed. In this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, we consider Space Seed, Start 8, 3141.9. This is one of the most beloved Star Trek, the original series episodes. It begins with a derelict DY-100 class spaceship, the SS Botany Bay, built in the 1990s, and is discovered by the Enterprise. Biological scanners detect life aboard with only 4 heartbeats a minute, so Bones does not believe them to be produced by humans. The Enterprise has no record of this ship, but it is not surprising as many of the records were lost in the Great World War of Eugenics fought during that period. Bones, Scotty, Kirk, and historian Marla McGivers beam aboard and discover it is indeed an old Earth ship powered by primitive nuclear power. The crew is in suspended animation, but the leader is accidentally awakened when the lights are turned on. Kirk is forced to break the glass and remove him from his chamber when the revival procedure fails and he is almost killed. McCoy and the man are then beamed aboard the Enterprise. As the Enterprise proceeds to Starbase 12 in the Gamma 400 star system, historian McGivers falls in love with the leader, who is discovered to be Khan Noonien Singh. Khan makes a miraculous recovery and holds Bones at scalpel point to find out where he is. Khan and his crew are products of the Eugenics Wars of the 1990s, which in 1993 a group of supermen simultaneously seized power in more than 40 nations. Spock reveals to Kirk that his research has determined that there were 80 to 90 supermen unaccounted for at the end of the war. This, together with Khan's extreme strength and physical prowess, lead Kirk and Spock to wonder if their passenger might not be one of the missing supermen. Through subtle questioning, Kirk gets Khan to inadvertently admit that he is one of the supermen when he blurts out, "We offered the world order." Kirk and company look up Khan in the database and find him to be one of the most dangerous of the supermen, and at one time to have ruled a full quarter of the Earth's surface. Khan uses his great strength to break out of his cabin, and McGivers helps him to transport to the Botany Bay. There he awakens 72 out of the 84 superhumans whose life support systems are still functioning, and takes over the Enterprise with their help. Khan cuts off life support to the bridge, knocking out Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, technicians First Class Tooley and Harrison, and Lieutenant Spinelli. When Khan puts Kirk in a decompression chamber to force the other command crew members to join him, McGivers relents and helps Kirk regain control of the ship by cutting off the monitor camera on the chamber, ejecting the guard, and releasing Kirk. Kirk then helps Spock escape when he is brought to the chamber for his torture. They gas the entire ship, but Khan escapes to engineering and attempts to cause the ship to self-destruct. Kirk takes Khan in hand-to-hand combat and is able to overcome him with an engineering rod he pulls from a control panel. Kirk maroons the superhumans on Ceti Alpha 5, leaving them with sufficient supplies to enable them to colonize the uninhabited planet. On hearing this, Khan asks Kirk if he has ever read Milton, and Kirk says yes, he understands. The reference is the statement Lucifer made when he fell into the pit, saying, quote, "It is better to rule in heaven than serve in hell," end quote. Kirk gives McGivers a choice between court-martial and being left behind with Khan, and she elects to stay with Khan. This episode was the basis of the best and greatest Star Trek movie of all time, which of course was Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Fun fact, the title of this episode refers to the 18th century British custom, which was used to take unwanted criminals out of the country by shipping undesirables out to Australia. Knowing what we know now about the Star Trek universe, you can't help but love this show. It is the basis for the top Star Trek movie, Star Trek II, and The Wrath of Khan. So you have to look at this episode, I think, through the lens of how it appeared in 1967. And the first of all is the foreshadowing of World War III, never something that people want to think about, but we were able to get past that date, at least in the Star Trek world. But the enhanced individuals, or the superhumans who tried to take over the world, is something that, unfortunately, we probably are going to have to deal with at some point, at least. The superhumans, the eugenics controversies, enhanced individuals, whatever you might call them. And that's a great trope of science fiction. So on that point alone, the quotation of Milton is obviously something else that is very cool about this episode. And then Marla McGivers, she chooses love over staying with the Enterprise. So lots to enjoy from this episode. And of course, knowing what we know about where Star Trek goes, it makes this episode even more poignant. Today I want to take up leadership lessons from this episode, but I want to put a little bit different spin on it, as I want to talk about how compliance professionals can strengthen their leadership practices within their own organizations. Some of the key lessons that can be put into practice based upon the episode Space Seed include, number one, promote humility and ethical decision making. Compliance teams should emphasize the importance of leaders maintaining humility, self-awareness, and a steadfast commitment to ethical conduct, even in the face of ambitious goals or temptations for personal gain. This can be reinforced through training, performance review, and clear organizational values. Number two, implement robust checks and balances. Compliance frameworks should mandate the establishment of strong systems of oversight, accountability, and the ability to challenge leadership actions. This could include independent audits, multiple stakeholders, review boards, and clear escalation procedures, i.e. taking information from a reporter, a whistleblower, or someone who speaks up and get it up the line. The goal is to prevent concentration of unchecked power. Number three, balance efficiency and ethics. When designing compliance processes and controls, it's critical to ensure a proper balance between operational efficiency and upholding core ethical principles. Compliance teams should be vigilant about identifying and mitigating any trade-offs that could compromise human rights or organizational values. Number four, foster diversity and inclusion. Compliance should encourage the cultivation of diverse, cross-functional leadership teams that bring a variety of backgrounds, perspective, and sets to the table. This helps guard against the risks of homogeneous, insular decision-making going forward. Number five, encourage empathy and understanding. Compliance training and leadership development should emphasize the importance of empathy, compassion, and the ability to understand different viewpoints, even those who may have actually, even towards those who may have acted unethically. This can foster more constructive conflict resolution. Number six, emphasize vigilance and preparedness. Compliance programs should mandate that leaders proactively identify and mitigate risks, potential threats, and risks, rather than being caught off guard. Scenario planning, risk assessment, and compliance contingency plans are all critical components of this. By actively applying the lessons from Space Seed, compliance professionals can help build organizational cultures and structures that are more resistant to the abuse of power, more ethically grounded, and better equipped to navigate complex challenges. It's a powerful way to translate science fiction insights into real-world best compliance practices going forward. I hope you'll join me tomorrow where we take up a taste of Armageddon.
If you enjoyed this episode of Trekking Through Compliance, you can help it grow by sharing it with the biggest Trek fan you know.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.